And you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife. And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. And you may ask yourself, how do I work this? And you may ask yourself, where is that large automobile? And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful house. And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful wife. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. Same as it ever was. 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 Water dissolving and water removing. There is water at the bottom of the ocean. Under the water, carry the water. Remove the water at the bottom of the ocean. Water dissolving and water removing. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again, into the silent water, under the rocks and stones. There is water underground. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. You may ask yourself, what is that beautiful house? You may ask yourself, where does that highway go to? And you may ask yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done? Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again, into the silent water, under the rocks and stones. There is water underground. Letting the days go by, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground into the blue again. After the money's gone, once in a lifetime, water flowing underground. Same as it ever was.
Talking about the dopest jams in the studio. Pour up a cup, taking a sip of your mocha joke. You and no numero. Tight 7-0. Tight 7-0.
Hey yo, this is the HateSevenohpodcast, and I am Gary Finn, and we are stoked. We are very happy to be talking to my really close friend and a really cool dude from a particular band that I'm not going to say right now. Let's get with the announcements and everything. So, hey, listen, we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook, and we would totally appreciate it if you go on there and just kind of like and heart and comment and participate. We welcome all comments, complaints, concerns, or whatever's. So what else do we have? We have a YouTube, we have a Spotify. Go on there and like and subscribe and give us 5 stars. And we have a few episodes up, so if you haven't listened to any, or if this is your first time listening, listen to this one first, then go back to the rest of them. What else is coming up? We have the Metal Mayhem Fest is going on July 20th at the Brick House Grill in Jonesboro. It's from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. You can buy your tickets online. $20, and we're at the door. It's $30. I'm the Catalyst goes on at 3:30. That's the only band you really need to worry about seeing that day. But in all seriousness, there's lots of great friends, lots of great bands playing, so make sure to show up and show up early. I'm sure the bands will have merch, and I greatly appreciate you coming and supporting them and everything. Apart from that, we had just released TheSilenceTree's second track from a previous EP that is live right now. That came out yesterday. The track is Going Home. You should go listen to it. Right now, it should be on all platforms. And I think apart from that, that's all I really have. So, I'm really happy. I'm really stoked to be on location again here in Heber Springs, the beautiful Heber Springs. I love it. It's so beautiful here, man. But yeah, I'm listening. I am here with my good friend Chuck Jeffcoats of TheSilenceTree and After the Altar. What is up, buddy? What is up?
Hey, man, what's going on? Yeah, you're in the promised land right now.
I am. This area compared to Paragould is just like a whole nother planet.
Oh gosh, I grew up in Blytheville, and so it's nothing but flat farm field. Very similar to Paragould. You probably have a little more hills. I tell people the only hills we have in Blytheville is the overpasses over the interstate. So yeah, once you get on this side of Searcy, really, you start getting really some awesome mountains and stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think all we have in Paragould is just the Crowley's Ridge.
Oh, yeah, just a ridge, yeah.
So I'm kind of like, and I work in Southeast Missouri, so, and sometimes I go, you know what, hey, Paragould's not so bad.
Right.
I'm sure that doesn't make my Southeast
Missouri. It doesn't get much worse, right?
No.
Could be Kansas.
It could be Kansas. I remember driving my route to work every day is at 412 going into Kennet. It is flat.
Absolutely.
Man.
Spent a lot of time in Kennet as a kid. There was
really?
a theater there. I don't know if it's still there or not, but they did like $3 movies.
It's still there.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember my favorite thing as a kid. I would call the theater every single week trying to see what was playing because my family, we'd go see everything. Probably not the best things to show kids, like at, maybe 10 years old watching Scream or, Total Recall at the age of 6. I don't know.
I know. I get thinking about that. Like me and my buddy, we're both 50, so we talk about, we were born within a week of each other. We talk about these movies all the time that we probably shouldn't have seen at 10, 11, and 12 years old, but we did.
Absolutely.
Like watching the Goonies at 8 years old.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you watch stuff, even a lot of times you watch stuff as a kid on TV, like on TBS or something like that, and it's all edited. Well, as a grown-up, now you got kids, you're trying to pull out the DVD and show your kids, and they're dropping so many bombs. You're like, I do not remember this at all. There's so many movies like that.
And I go, I don't remember that.
Exactly.
At that age, I go, I don't remember the language.
No. Nor did I pay attention to it as a kid.
I was I think especially with talking about Goonies, I was just all caught up on oh my gosh, they found this map in the attic. And
they could go on a pirate treasure hunt.
It's this is the most
so epic,
insane thing. Or I don't remember E.T. I remember the only thing I remember about E.T. was boohooing, walking out with my mom just crying.
For real?
Yeah, why did he have to go home?
I remember being super affected by Bambi that way. Bambi his dad isn't his dad dies pretty quick.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah. A lot of sad stuff in Disney films. Oh gosh, it's ridiculous. Think about Up. You watch Up,
I
Pixar.
love Up, yeah.
Yeah, you're crying in the first 5 minutes.
It's terrible.
What the heck? This is a children's film,
What are they doing to our kids, bro?
Exactly. That's where depression comes from. It's Disney.
Disney. I knew it.
Man.
So I am, just so everybody can kind of get a picture of where I'm at. I think this is kind of like a video game bunker. If the world was to come to an end.
Absolutely.
This is where all the living video games will be at. What was that movie what's that new movie with Julia Roberts that,
oh yeah, where the Teslas all congest the city. What is that called?
What is that called, Steph? Do you remember?
Don't leave the world behind or something that. Leave the world behind.
Leave the world behind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
super real. Unfortunately,
yeah,
super real.
So no, don't go You know, if you haven't seen the movie, stop listening. But like, you know, this is like the.
Yep.
I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but there's like a bunker.
You
There's a bunker at the end, and like all your favorite '90s sitcoms were inside
are here. Yeah, you
Inside
can
that
survive
bunker.
for many years on entertainment down here. So.
But I'm surrounded by Pokemon posters and Transformers and Total Recall and lots of Nintendo and Xbox games. So what is up with all this, man? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I grew up playing video games. You know, I think the first console we had as a family was an Atari, and then eventually got an NES. You know, and went on to Sega after that and stuff. And so I've always played video games. I've never been like the hardcore like. I sit down and play for 8 hours, 12 hours. I stay up all night. I've never been that kind of gamer.
Right.
Just more casual, but like fun. And so I'm into more of the Mario and the more lighthearted games like that, Kingdom
Sure.
Hearts. And so about 5 or 6 years ago, I've got a buddy that started a YouTube channel, and his YouTube channel was really just kind of following along with him in flea markets and consignment stores and picking up stuff through Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
And so he was buying and reselling video games. And so I started doing the same thing that he did. I mean, his YouTube channel really took off. He goes by Retro Rick. Shout out there, guys.
Nice.
He is the best video game store on the planet in Conway, so you got to check it out. It's called Retro Rick's Game Point.
Cool.
But anyways, I started learning from him, and so I think I've got probably around 2,000 games in here
Awesome.
now, just over the last 5 years of like buying and reselling. And
Gotcha.
so honestly, man, my collection I've really gotten for free because of buying and reselling. You know, so it's absolutely ridiculous, but you know, my wife says it's okay as long as it doesn't cost us money. So
That's awesome, man.
right.
That's beautiful,
But
man.
I will say, dude, my boys probably play 95% more than I do. So
I gotcha.
I'm down here super. I really prefer. I've got a big screen down here, so I prefer to watch on the projector, like watch movies, is what I normally do.
Oh,
so.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yep.
So they're playing. So your kiddos are playing like some classic games,
Yeah.
right? Like they're like time traveled back to the 80s and 90s.
100%. I had to raise them old school, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the only way to do it. Because like I don't know how many times I've talked to Steph. I go, man, I just want to watch like some like old movies because I really can't find what I'm looking for on Netflix. You know, that does that constant
Yeah.
that constant scrolling. Like
The
I'm not
whole time.
seeing anything I really want to watch here. And what I really want to watch is like I want to go down to our local like I don't know, our pawn shop or consignment store and just grab like a handful of like dollar DVDs of movies that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
But we need the VHS rental stores still around, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's a movie gallery or
I
what?
miss like that because that used to be like a night. That used to be a night of fun. Like it's so like now we've kind of traded like, hey, let's go with your friends to the video store and look for
Yeah.
movies to like let's stay at home and scroll through.
It's really sad.
Bro,
I mean, it really is. You know, I remember as a kid, again, like with the movie theater, we were in the movie rental store all the time. I mean, I don't remember, it may have been Tuesday night or Friday night when the new releases came out.
Yeah.
And, you know, you'd have, like, some of the bigger rental stores would have, like, 50 copies of the newest release movie
yeah.
that just
Oh,
came
yeah.
out, you
Oh,
know?
yeah.
But they'd all be gone by the time you got there, you know? And so...
how disappointing was that?
But I know, right? But it was like the best thing. It's so nostalgic for me to look back to those times.
Yeah.
And being in a video rental store and just grabbing a couple movies and maybe a game or two and taking it home. And especially a game, you know, you've got a limited time with it, so you're trying to beat it as fast as you possibly can, you know, which was not always very possible. I remember when I was real little, probably like 7 or 8, me and my brother, after we'd rent a game, we'd wake up super early before school. My mom and dad didn't even know this. We'd wake up probably at like 4 o'clock in the morning and turn the Nintendo on and start playing.
No way.
You know, and start trying to beat the game before school.
No way. That is incredible.
Right?
You gotta be super pumped about a game to get up that early and just try to.
Absolutely.
And that's
Well, like I say, when you got a limited time with it, you know, you got to do what you got to do.
yeah,
So.
that's true.
And of course, the Nintendo didn't have save states, so you had to just leave it on 24/7. You know, if you were playing a game, you couldn't take it out because you'd lose all your progress. You know,
Man,
good times, right?
man.
It's all coming back now, isn't it?
Oh man, because I used to play like Dragon Warrior, like the first.
Yes.
I just like I think that was my first introduction to like probably my first and only like the RPG game.
The RPG game,
Yeah. So I'm like, I was so hooked on it and just trying to get to the very end.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bring you some nostalgia in a little bit. I've actually got all 4 Dragon Warriors for Nintendo in their original boxes with their maps and stuff like that. I'll show you that in a little bit.
That is a trip. That's a trip. Well, you talking about that movie theater down in Kennett. Did you know the one in Paragould closed?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, but somebody's reopening it, right? Isn't there something going on?
I don't know.
Oh, it's up in the air.
I don't know, because like there was rumors going around that it was going to be turned into something like what's down in Jonesboro, the bowling alley, and what's the hijinks or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know.
We took the boys. Parker had his 13th birthday last weekend, and so we took him down to Little Rock to main event. So it's probably the same thing. It's like, you got tokens and all this different stuff, bowling alley, laser tag,
main event type of, okay.
Yeah.
What was that place? What was that place, Steph, in Memphis? Incredible Pizza.
Oh, okay.
There
I
was
thought
that
you were
one.
talking about Julian's.
I don't know that. Oh, I have heard of that.
It's kind of the downtown area. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
That's
I think it was
yeah.
a big package and just go crazy.
And go for it.
Oh yeah, there's like
That's cool.
go-karts in there, a laser tag, the whole 9 yards. There's like stacks and stacks of pizza. Extremely
super
expensive.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it always is. Dude, we took the boys to Chuck E. Cheese maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and it's a joke. It is horrendous. I mean, I think we may have got the pizza, but I don't remember being impressed by it.
No.
But the games are terrible. Like, there's not hardly any selection at all.
It's not good anymore.
No. And there's no animatronic, like giant robots singing at you and stuff. That was a disappointment.
Well, now they have like the live one that chases you around.
That's right. Tries to steal your kids. Yeah.
It's like, who are you, buddy? Underneath that mask. Oh, yo.
No background check.
No. No. Is this your free? No. I won't go there. Anyway, I like your Poison the Well shirt.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
It looks like a picture of Heber Springs.
It does. It's crazy. Yeah, it's got like a lake and trees and stuff on some mountains.
Okay, so I'm like super psyched about this, like just putting out like the TheSilenceTree stuff back out.
Yeah.
And everybody, it's like Chuck. You can't be in one bad band at all. Like everybody loves TheSilenceTree.
Trust me, I've been in bad bands.
and everybody loves After the Altar. It's like, but no, I'm serious. But like everybody that you talk to about like, TheSilenceTree or After the Altar, there's never one negative thing said. In fact, it's the opposite. It's like, there's like, they meant everything, or that was the best show ever, and the best show I ever went to, or those are the best group of guys. So what the heck, man? That's pretty. That's because there was a ton of bands back then.
Yeah,
obviously, like during that time, I was trying to count the amount of bands that were actually just at one time playing.
Yep.
There was quite a slick. Everybody who had a guitar or
would start a band,
which I think is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But what made I want to talk about After the Altar, because people talk about that all the time. Chase Coleman will definitely appreciate this. He loves you guys, but like what? So how did the whole because I don't know the whole origin story.
Origin story.
We're in the right place to talk about origin stories.
Yeah, exactly. That's so cool.
So how did After the Altar get going?
Yeah, man. I mean, first and foremost, I'll just say, I can speak for myself, but I can probably speak for all the guys in ATA. We're super duper honored to hear all the things that people have been saying about us through the podcast, because we've been listening, and it's just so cool because at the time, I think you don't really realize like the type of impact that you make on people. Mm-hmm. I remember Brian telling me one time he was in the mall in Little Rock, and this is probably, it's been probably close to 10 years ago.
Okay.
But he ran into somebody, and somebody, said something like, "Hey, weren't you the lead singer of After the Altar?" And he was just like, "Yeah." And so the dude was like, man, you really made such a huge difference in my life. Like I had a really hard time during that time, and like you guys helped me bring me through that. And so to hear things like that, like I'm getting chills talking about
That's crazy.
because you just don't know the type of impact that you have on people.
No.
You know, and so anyways, thank you guys so much for all the love and support that you guys gave us back then and even still now. So
It's nuts.
origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in a couple of high school bands, and I'd kind of picked up bass guitar originally in ninth grade with some guys, and played with some other guys in high school. I moved to Texas right after high school for like a year, and then moved back to Blytheville on my own for the first time, you know, as an adult. I guess you could say adult. I don't, you know, I still don't feel like an adult. So
Right.
anyways, Brian and I have been really good friends, really since like I was in first grade. I mean, since like the early
wow.
90s. Yeah.
Wow.
We've known each other for a long time. And so we both knew, like, once I moved back to Blytheville, we had to get something going.
Okay.
And so we got together, and we had a buddy of ours named Mikey that lived in Armorel. And so we got together and started playing, and that was kind of in a time where we were listening to probably a lot more nu metal stuff, starting to shift into kind of the heavier things.
Sure.
And so we started playing, and our original stuff that, you know, a lot of you guys probably don't even remember a lot of it. I know the song "My Loyal Oath," that one was one that we kind of carried through, that everybody really enjoyed, like singing along to and stuff.
Gotcha.
But we played some more metalcore type stuff, kind of getting into that. And that drummer Mikey, he had I think he just kind of been really big into his job at the time, and so he kind of moved on.
Okay.
And we had gone through a couple of different drummer iterations after that. It's more like temporary guys kind of hopping in to help out and stuff.
I gotcha.
But so I started playing bass with ATA. That's kind of the setup. Was I was playing bass, Brian was playing guitar and doing
Okay.
vocals, and then Mikey played drums, and then we had a couple other guys again. And so eventually we brought on Brian's brother Blake to play bass.
Okay.
And Blake is like super duper talented, man. He picked up the bass and just freaking ran with it. It was so cool.
That's awesome.
And so we go through a couple of drummers. You know, Ricky Blackwell, he played with Struggle Within for a while.
Okay.
And then after that, Philip Banks played with us for a little bit, like an interim drummer.
Oh, wow.
So Philip was the drummer. Well, sorry, he was the lead singer for Yuppie Mentality.
Yeah, dude.
And for Goodnight Panda.
Yeah, dude.
And so we've known him for a long time. He was always such a good dude. And then we had Bryce Prophet. He was a guy from Lepanto that played drums with us for a little bit. And he was kind of more official in the band. And I think he kind of let his girlfriend get the best of him. You know how it goes in those young days. And so eventually, you know, we were drummerless. We were trying to figure out who we were going to have as a drummer.
Sure.
And we kept hearing all these really cool things about Benny Reiner.
Okay.
And so everybody's talking about how good of a drummer he is. You know, well, at the time, me and Brian were in our early 20s, and then Blake was probably right about graduating high school, maybe a little bit after.
Okay.
And Benny was like 15.
Yeah.
I mean, he was driving, but I think he had like a hardship license. You know what I mean? And so he came all the way from Jonesboro to Gosnell, and he auditioned for the band. And of course, when we're watching this kid play, we're like, this is the most incredible drummer on the planet. How is this happening? And so he was into ATA at the time, and we were like, let's do this, man. And so we got with Benny, and that's kind of the history of ATA there.
Yeah.
So kind of going from the start.
That is wild, man.
Yeah.
That and Benny did so much.
Crazy. The dude's like a freaking superstar now. Yeah, I mean, he was the percussionist for the Broadway musical Hamilton.
Yeah.
I mean, from the ground up, the dude's got like platinum records on his wall.
Nuts.
Maybe even diamond or something. I don't know.
Yeah, probably Diamond.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. But he's done stuff. I mean, he kind of started after high school playing, I think, with the Memphis Grizzlies. And then he moved
That's
up
right.
to New York area and played. I think he played for the Jets, New York Jets up there,
That's
like on their
nuts.
drum line and stuff. And so he's just really done a ton of stuff.
I didn't know
I'm
he
super
played
proud
for
of him.
he played for the Jets.
Yeah, it was maybe the Jets or the Giants, or he was on some type. Benny may correct this if he hears this, but I'm almost positive he went up there and he played for some type of sports team up there as well.
Okay, so if you play for the Jets, we're still friends. That's awesome. That's
True,
great.
yeah.
So what was it? I mean, what do you think? Have you ever kind of dwelt and kind of thought about like what was it that kids were so like pulled to about you guys? Like what was that? Do you think?
Yeah.
Have you ever pondered about that? Like what it was that kind of was so attractive about you guys?
Yeah. I mean,
Besides your looks?
we considered ourselves like a Christian band, and so the lyrics that Brian wrote were like wrapped around our faith and stuff like that.
Right.
And, I really think, I don't know this, but I really think it had to do a lot with like the positivity that we kind of brought.
Sure.
Everywhere we went.
Yeah.
And we tried to be super encouraging. I heard you talk in an earlier podcast about how, you kind of get to a place back then, when you're young, where you're like kind of stingy about music and,
Oh, sure.
and
sure.
you're kind of hating on genres and stuff. And we had that to an extent, but I mean, I think we really tried, especially with like the up and comer kids that were starting bands. I remember seeing named Rodney King for the first time, and just chaotic grind type stuff, which I wasn't super into, but just trying to be like a positive influence on people like that, and trying to encourage people to really enjoy doing stuff like that. You know?
Yeah. I think that's what I mean. I kind of look back at shows, and you're always smiling in all the pictures I see, and knowing Brian, I mean, I don't know Brian as well as you did, but the times I have talked to him, and I remember we did a thing. Oh, it was probably after the Commonwealth was behind Putt, probably after I was like in, after I left Time the Catalyst. It'd been like 4 or 5 years, I think.
Okay.
And me, him, and Justin Franks, we were trying to do something. And he was so eager to do it and so helpful as far as like in the writing process.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'd like to get Brian on. It'd be kind of cool to talk to him. And
yeah, man,
everything.
he's super talented too. I mean, obviously his vocal's insane,
I
but
know.
his writing style was always really good too. And he's just really creative. I'm the type of guy, like musician wise, especially, but even just any type of creativity, like I'm a really good collab guy. So if I can collaborate on an idea, because I'm not really always the guy that starts the idea from the ground up and goes with it.
I got you.
But if I'm with a group of dudes or with another person or something, and we come up with an idea together, man, I'm really good, I feel like, of building on those ideas. So for me, songwriting, that's where mine comes from.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that's super needed. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But when did you shift from bass to guitar? And how was that shift? Though?
Yeah. So I originally, like I said earlier, in 9th grade, I picked up bass for the first time, played with a little garage band. And then about a year later, I started kind of picking around the guitar. So about 10th grade is when I first originally started playing guitar. And then once we brought Blake in the band at ATA, that's when I switched over to guitar. That way Brian could focus mostly on vocals. And so I think that was probably even too like the time where our writing style really shifted to a lot heavier stuff. So again, more new metal stuff when I was playing bass. I think Brian was playing guitar, and it could have had to do with, honestly, with Brian having to focus on vocals and guitar at the same time.
Sure.
The intricacies weren't quite as intricate, I guess you could say.
So where were you pulling like influences from?
Back then?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Originally, I mean, it would have been like Deftones and Chevelle and things like that. I think once we got more into our heavier stuff, I mean, we were listening to all kinds of stuff then, because Memphis at that time was just absolutely booming with shows.
It was.
I mean, I feel like I was in Memphis at least once a week at a show. So we were listening to like Red Chord and All Shall Perish, but even like Maylene and Every Time I Die and Acacia Strain. I mean, it was just...
It was constant back then.
It really was. Like, it's incredible to think about. I wish I would have kept a list of all the bands that I've seen, because at this point it's been so many, and half the time I'm like, I'm pretty sure I saw them, but I don't remember for sure.
And they kind of blur together.
Yeah,
they kind of blur together and everything. And I was like, my buddy from San Diego, he collects like ticket stubs. I was like, well, I mean, I would do that, but like, man, sometimes we didn't have a ticket stub. It was just like, you just pay at the door.
That's exactly right. Yeah, all the Memphis stuff. I don't remember other than going to like the Pyramid or Tom Lee Park for Beale Street Music Fest, and even those I guess the Pyramid probably had the artist names on there, but Beale Street Music Fest just said Beale Street Music Fest. You'd have to go back online and look at 2003 lineup and stuff like that. But yeah, all the Memphis shows like the Complex, the skate park, High Tone, stuff like that. It was just a pay at the door kind of thing.
Hey, did you ever see Dead to Fall down at the skate park?
No.
That was insane.
Was it?
Yeah, it was insane.
Oh, God.
I think that was the first time I'd ever seen Dead to Fall.
I've never seen him before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When I think of you guys, I always think if like Dead to Fall, like He Is Legend had a baby, that would be like, that'd be like you guys, It's like, it's so like, I don't know if it's just because like at that time, like Brian had so much hair.
Yeah.
And I did see them. We saw them at that dude is still wild, man. That lead singer is still wild.
Really?
From Dead to Fall. I was like, but you've seen I've seen you. I've caught up with you at Furnace Fest a couple times.
Yep.
And you've caught like He Is Legend is like one of your.
Dude, I freaking love He Is
What
Legend.
is it? What is it about that band?
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's like the southern kind of feel metal aspect of it.
Yeah.
But Skylar's voice is, I think he's one of the greatest vocalists of all time, man. He's just got such a super awesome, like clean.
Yeah.
And I say clean, but it's still grungy, singing voice, but he's got a great scream to it, but gosh, that band, it just, every record they put out,
they got a cult following, man.
It's
People
incredible.
love those dudes.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't listen enough, okay, so back in the day, I'm Hollywood was kind of the record that was out. Suck Out the Poison came out a little bit after that, but I feel like a lot of people dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
But if you dropped off, go back and listen to the albums they've recorded since. I'm gonna talk about one song later on, but
okay.
But like, it's crazy, y'all, for real.
That's awesome.
It's so good.
They're super good. Like, and the thing with Furnace Fest is like, they got all these bands, but you always got to make decisions.
You have to make choices. Yeah, exactly.
Hard ones. I'm like,
really.
That's like, well, I guess I don't get to see you.
I know. Yeah. Well, it's like when we were there that year, we saw you guys. Taking Back Sunday was playing, and my wife had not seen them, and she was a huge Taking Back Sunday fan, which I like them a lot too. But they were playing the same time as Glassjaw, and so we had to make that choice. Which I've seen Glassjaw. Well, actually, both of us have seen Glassjaw before.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those like, well, we haven't seen this band. We have seen this band, so we're going to go see the band we haven't seen.
That's exactly my mindset.
Yep.
I think last year was one of those things like, I should have made that decision, but I didn't. But so like Plea for Purging was playing at the same time that Better Lovers was.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
So who did you see? Better Lovers?
I saw Plea for Purging.
You saw Plea?
And I'm so glad I did. And it sucked I didn't get to see Better Lovers, but I think they're going to be back this year, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. When you've got a band like Plea that has been broken up for years, and I'm pretty sure they probably only got back together to play Furnace Fest.
Oh yeah, that's it.
So that's probably the right choice, because you can see Better Lovers again later on.
Heck yeah. You got free cheeseburgers out of it.
We played with Plea a couple of times.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So how was that? Those guys are nice. Like, we played with them, I think, once.
Super nice.
They're super nice.
All
dudes.
those guys. Yeah, they're like, I mean, it's like big teddy bears. Like,
They are.
They're super good dudes. We played with them. I know for sure they played at a church in Paragould.
What?
Yeah, I mean, a long time ago. And then I know we played with them in Jackson, Tennessee one time at a big Casey Jones Pavilion or something like that.
That is nuts.
And then obviously with TheSilenceTree, we played at Cornerstone and they were there and stuff. But I mean, I think we played with them a time or two after that as well. I don't know.
So how did that happen? Now, legend has it that you bought a drum set to audition for the Silence Tree.
So super weird. Okay, so I'm the kind of guy that would see a drum set, that was available to play, and I would just sit behind it and just kind of pick around, Mm-hmm. And funny enough, one of my Brian and Blake will laugh at this, but one of my favorite things to play when I sit behind a drum kit was the song "Head Trip" by Seven Dust.
Okay,
because it's just got this opening drum beat that's just so fun to me, and so I would do that all the time. But anyways, so I was a huge fan of the TheSilenceTree.
Okay.
Like we loved the guys with Tragic Stories End, and that's all. Most of the guys there went on to do TheSilenceTree, and I was just like blown away by the sound.
Yeah.
It was just so good to me. And so the first record that they released, that Sunrise Sunset, I burned the fire out of that. I mean, I listened to it like crazy.
Gotcha.
And so when Nick Saunders had left the band, Brian was like, "Dude, you should audition for the drummer position for SilenceTree."
Awesome.
And I was like, "What? Are you crazy?" Because like to be honest, I probably have never sat down and played an entire song on the drums at all.
So this is Brian's idea.
This is Brian's idea. And he was like, maybe they could use an extra guitar player too. And I was like,
shoot.
okay, well, let's just see. And so he and we go up to the church that we were attending. Actually, his parents were the pastors of that church.
Okay.
We went up to the church.
You're talking about Finley, right?
Do what?
You're talking about Finley, right? Brian?
No, Brian Folks.
Oh, Brian Folks.
Yeah,
Okay. I was thinking another Brian.
Brian
Never mind.
Folks. Yep, you're good. Yeah, Brian Finley, Tragic Stories in. Brian
Yeah,
Finley.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're good.
okay.
Yeah, Brian Folks. So we go up to the church and we just turn on the CD. We put the CD in and just start playing it. And so I sit behind the drum kit and play, and Brian is kind of picking around the guitar. And I realized that I had listened to that CD so often and so much that I sat and I really just kind of played the drums through the entire thing.
That's great.
It was the craziest thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm
Wow.
like, I may can really actually do this, you know? However, I will say this. So the podcast that you did, I guess probably with Josh Costner, was the first time that I ever heard that you auditioned for SilenceTree. I had no clue.
Yeah. 'Cause
In fact, I don't know about it. I don't know if there's anybody else as well. I've never heard anything about that.
No, yeah, because like I went to that church and like I wasn't doing anything like musically, and I go, well, you know, I play drums. That was my second instrument, and I go, I'll try it out. But with me though, I don't hit hard enough.
Oh, for
I
real?
don't I can hit, you know, if I could play, I can probably keep the beat. But as far as like hitting hard enough, and so I was like, yeah, you're definitely the right guy for the.
Man.
But that's unreal though, because like if you're listening to the CD like nonstop,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden like it kind of like it was like just a part of you, like you already knew like all the nuances and everything else. That's perfect, man.
Yep.
And anytime I saw you guys, I was like, yo, and the sound was like. It was like something I hadn't really heard before. I thought it was a new, not that there's anything like new under the sun, but far as like it was definitely different from like what everything else was kind of going on at the time. And it was super refreshing to kind of hear that. I know I've touched on that before, and just kind of like, you know, I know it's like, sometimes a particular sound gets so saturated within a scene or whatever, and it's so refreshing to hear something not only different, but something different done really well.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, because at that time, I mean, there's different genres of heavy, but like that's what we had in Northeast Arkansas was
Exactly,
heavy.
yeah.
And you know, I know Goodnight Panda had come out with some dancey type stuff that was more fun.
Exactly.
But I really feel like Goodnight Panda and SilenceTree were the only ones doing something really vastly different.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so just to have that breath of fresh air, and again, we were kind of in that place mentally where we were kind of, you know, dissing on different genres and stuff. But when your friends start doing it, it kind of becomes different. And I think you open your mind up a little bit more. And so it was just, I know those guys, like SilenceTree guys, they kind of pulled a lot of influence from like Sigur Rós and This Will Destroy You, things like that. And but yeah, I mean, same thing for me. I mean, I was just blown away when I saw those guys, and again, the sound was just so huge.
It was,
and it was just crazy. And I'll be honest, like ATA and SilenceTree had very different feels for me personally.
Gotcha.
Like I loved both, but they were so different. Something about the SilenceTree, it was like this sounds really cheesy to say, but it's like the music just took over my entire being.
No.
Like I don't know. I felt like I was
it.
in some type of space. Like when we were playing together, it was just the most incredible feeling.
I totally get it. It's like when I always tell people, I say it's kind of like I mean you're an 80s guy, so you know,
Oh, yeah.
so the Sylvester Stallone movie Over the Top.
Over the top.
You know,
He's
it's
arm
like-
wrestling.
It's like that hat. As soon as that hat turns,
You ain't lying.
you become somebody else. And I go,
get in the zone.
yeah. It's like as soon as you pick up the drumsticks or that first note hits, or you put on the strap to your guitar or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of like. It's like who's that dude on stage? You know, we don't know that guy, and you go back. I go back, especially I watch videos now. Everybody has a phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, Gary, just stand still on the stage. Don't do anything. Just just play your guitar
You
and
look so
go home.
weird. Yeah.
Just, you know, but because it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that with the Silence Tree. It's kind of like this ethereal, kind of like drony, not super drony, but like you kind of get caught up in this dreamscape.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
It's beautiful, you
Yeah.
know. And I know Sam's kind of like, you know, he's not totally stoked about the production or whatever, but I go, man, dude, for like that time, I'm not too sad on it.
Pretty legit. Yeah, there was a guy in Memphis. His name was Jason that recorded us. I think they did the same thing because I didn't play drums on the first EP with Sunrise Sunset. I played on Signals, and but I'm pretty sure Jason recorded both of those. A guy in Memphis, and there was he ended up putting some kind of weird gate, like a noise gate.
That's what
on
he
the
said.
snare. And what ends up happening is the snare kind of chokes. It's like the snare mic was picking up some of the cymbal action, and so when the gate picks up, like it's peaking, it chokes it.
Okay.
So it's kind of got this weird sound on the snare. So I really wish. I would love it if we could go back and re-record all that stuff. I think it'd be so cool to have like a legit recording of the Silence Tree stuff.
That'd be unreal.
Yeah, because although it is good, I think it could be a lot better. You know.
That'd be interesting.
I know, right?
Because like it kind of goes back to to people who like I don't know. There's certain bands like you hear like them like a different recording of a song.
Yeah.
You know, because like Audio Tree, you know, they'll play. You know, they have these. You know, they have these releases on Spotify. You know, you hear like your favorite band's album, and then that band will go into like a live place, and Audio Tree will just record it right there, live, and it's like, I don't like it like this.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but it's the real recording. There's no like in the studio type production.
Big
It's just-
production, yeah.
nothing like that. I go, well, you know,
It is what it is.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever, man.
That's cool.
Have you been like? So you did After the Altar. You did the Silence Tree. And
Yeah.
So when that you guys played at Cornerstone,
We did. Yep.
that was a pretty big deal. I know I had kind of Josh. Do you remember who came up to you guys, or who was like trying to like pick you guys up?
I do. Yeah. So there was a guy. Well, so it was kind of two things going on. One really was way more potential than the other. There was a guy named Jason Scannell, something like that, and he ran a record label called Raging Storm Records.
Okay, that's what Josh
And-
said.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a big thing, and I think he had like even a heavier label, kind of like Solid State, Tooth and Nail, kind of. Well, he had a heavier record label too called.
Is it?
Oh gosh, it was just in my brain.
What was it? Blood and Ink.
No, it wasn't Blood and Ink.
Okay, so I kept going to Blood and Ink. I'm wrong on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we ever heard anything from Blood and Ink, but so that was one, and that was probably the most potential. He would have signed us and put us on the road,
Oh, dang.
but I don't think it was really all that lucrative for us because it was a very small label, so we'd have been like hardcore bare bones in it at that point.
Yeah.
And the other one, so Zach, gosh, I can't remember his last name, but he was the lead singer of Take It Back. So he's from Batesville, Cabot, something like that. He's from Arkansas.
Yeah.
Anyways, he came up. I think he knew Sam and Josh, maybe something like that. So he came up and watched the show, or one of the shows. We played 8 shows at Cornerstone.
Are you for real?
Yeah, that
How
whole
do you
week.
even do that?
Yeah, so it was there were some generator stages, and then because the Silence Tree had gone up the year before without me, whenever they still had Nick in the band, they had gone to Cornerstone the year before, just as like, let's pack our stuff, let's see if we can hop on a couple of generator stages and play.
Gotcha.
Because at that point, there were some opportunities that people would set up generator stages, and you could walk up and see if you could hop on the bill.
Yeah.
And because Cornerstone was a really unique thing, it was super cool. If you never got a chance to go, I hate that for you.
Oh,
'cause
man, me too.
It was really awesome. But then because of them going the year before and getting some exposure, they were actually able to book some real stages the next year.
Dude.
So we played, I think maybe like 3 or 4 like legit stages at Cornerstone.
Bro.
And then we played a couple of smaller like generator type stages.
So you guys were buzzing around the fest.
We
then,
were.
if you're playing that many.
Not to mention, like to advertise our shows, we dressed up like superheroes. So we were all dressed in like the cheesiest spandex looking suits. So it was like Spider-Man and Red Ranger, and I was dressed like Captain America.
Yo.
And very revealing spandex suits, to be honest.
What do you mean by revealing? No,
Use your imagination.
anyway, I tried.
Right, yeah.
I tried.
And so, anyway, Zach from Take It Back came and watched us, and he was like, "Man, you guys are really good. I really want to. I've Face Down Records is wanting to expand the way that their artistry looks on their label. They're wanting to expand their musicality." And so he went to go talk to some of the executives that were at Cornerstone or something, and to bring them to one of our shows, and the guys just never came. And so I don't know if it was, they weren't interested or if they were busy. I don't know what the case was, but it was actually Face Down that could have been an opportunity via Zach, the lead singer of Take It Back,
So
which is a hardcore band.
Face Down would have been Jason Dunn.
Oh yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
No innocent victim.
Yep.
I'll talk to him this year at Furnace Fest and be like, listen.
There's a band that might get back together.
My friends waited all night.
Yeah,
They're
still there waiting in Bushnell, Illinois.
Well, you mentioned something you mentioned something really key, because I went to Cornerstone several times as well.
Yeah.
And some of the best, I will say, equal to seeing some of the bands that you drove all that way to see, were the bands that were going to be a surprise that you would catch at a generator show or like the impromptu stage.
Yep. That
you would grab a demo or a shirt or something and just be like, these guys, or it's like finding like treasure, and like I miss that like accessibility and visibility, the visibility that it kind of gave to like bands who drove all that way.
Yeah.
And because like, can you imagine like this day and age?
Oh gosh. I mean,
especially seeing a band live. I know you can catch bands like, you can find them on Spotify and all, but sometimes catching that experience live
it's a whole different level. I mean, there's definitely been bands before that I've never been that big of a fan of, like their recordings, like they just don't sound all that awesome, but live, it just changes it, man. It really does. Yeah,
it does, because you'll remember that, and that kind of sticks with you.
Yeah,
you might listen to the demo or whatever; it doesn't sound like much, but man, that live experience, that live show, was amazing.
Just insane,
yeah, just insane. So, man, we should do something like that.
I know, right? Yeah, those generator stages were really special because, you could see those bands that were like, nobodies really to the U.S. I mean, I would say, because everybody's traveling from all over to get there. But then you would have this unique experience where this like freaking Norma Jean decides to go and set up on this tiny little generator stage and play.
Yeah.
And just blow everybody. Obviously, Norma Jean was already huge at that time, but they would just like surprise everybody and play this tiny little stage.
Just pop
and
up.
I say generator stage, and it was basically a couple pieces of plywood. And they would just set up on that and just play. Yeah. And then the crowd obviously is just getting absolutely insane because you're right there in their faces. It was just super cool.
Yeah, you just captured, you have a story for a lifetime.
Yeah. And
I think, I wonder if there's been like any like podcast or any type of like documentary of how I really think Cornerstone really played more than what people would probably anticipate. I think it was definitely pivotal for that area, and during that. Well, especially from the era from like late '90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
like music, like it played a role.
Absolutely, and it's such a strange thing too because it's literally just in the middle of a cornfield.
It literally is. Yeah.
Like I remember driving to it. I mean, it was probably about a 9-hour drive for us.
Yep.
And you start going down these back roads in Illinois in all these fields, and all of a sudden there's just like a turn into this field, and then you're there, and they've got these a ton of tents and giant stages. I mean, there's like a main stage. There's a couple of big main stages.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it was just so weird, like. There was a specific guy that put it all on, that it was his land and stuff like that, but I don't really know the backstory. Yeah, it'd be super cool if there was a documentary or something about it.
It should be like some key bands played like that. I remember like a Rich Mullins sound check.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. And I remember like, that's like when POD was like pre-Atlantic Records. They're like, what planet am I on where there's Rich Mullins and there's POD and Zayo at midnight?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like,
yeah. Well, the year that we were there, Sixpence None the Richer played,
right?
And like As Only Dying, or something. It's just like, what the heck?
And no wonder it got so many people, because it was like your Jesus hippies.
It was
showing up and all the way up to like, all the Supertone fire, or like during that time, like late 90s, like ska was popping.
Yeah,
and the
absolutely.
W's and everything else was playing. Yeah. It's nuts, dude.
And there was just so many cool like experiences that you could have, because, I know, for instance, just thinking about Me Without You played, and then maybe later on that day or something, the lead singer, I mean, he just like, He did his own little thing with like a djembe and an acoustic guitar, and just kind of, spoke and, hung out with the crowd. I mean, on a stage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like really cool, intimate little things that could happen in a place like that. It was just really, really unique.
Yeah, that you just kind of happen to run into.
Yeah, something like that could totally happen in Arkansas. We need to figure out how to do that. Exactly.
Yes.
I told him I thought it'd be awesome. We should just surprise it. Like, just get some people together, get it sponsored, and get it done.
Yeah,
Speaking of Northeast Arkansas.
Yeah, there we go. So it wouldn't be in cornfields, it's being flat
Cotton fields.
So it wouldn't be a surprise. You'd see it coming a mile.
Yeah, exactly.
Mile away. Whatever.
Everybody knows what's happening. Yeah.
Oh crap. Okay. After the altar.
Yeah.
The Silence Tree. So what happened? Was there any music? What did you do after Silence Tree? Like, what happened there?
Yeah, so coming out of Silence Tree, it was just kind of, getting to be a really busy part of my life. Amy and I had gotten married, and, it's either we had already gotten married or we were about to get married. Maybe we were engaged. I kind of feel like we were already married, though. But anyways, so what was happening at that time was I was working at a lumber company. And I would work until like 5 o'clock on Friday night. Mm-hmm. I would drive to Paragould to go rehearse. Mm-hmm. And then we'd rehearse until like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And then I'd have to be at work at 7 o'clock the next morning on Saturday.
Dude.
And so I did that for a long time. And it just got to where it was like, it was kind of time to move on in life, I think is the best way to explain it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I loved it. I loved the guys. There was never any kind of ill anything. In fact, it was really sad. It was a hard decision to make, but I knew it was the right one to make, obviously from a marriage and just to kind of continue on my path of adulthood,
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of what that was. And ATA, I mean, I feel like it was probably around the same time that we did kind of all that, maybe.
Gotcha.
It's so weird that's like 15 plus years ago. It's weird to think about. Yeah.
It's kind of strange.
It's hard to remember in my old age. So.
I hate to think about time, because because you do time travel back to the late 2000s, when we were all playing shows and like I think people freeze in time. Like I think they're going to look different when it's I mean they're not going to look different. I mean they're just going to look the same when I left them. But the fact of the matter is, because I ran into Brian Finley.
Oh yeah,
at the show.
I think I saw a picture of you guys together.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, you like grew a beard and everything.
Dude, I haven't seen him in probably 15 years. Yeah.
So that's I think that's one of the most. And I like that people don't freeze in time, because it's just one of those things. Like, because when I went to the show, it was kind of like. It's like this time capsule of like these people I hung out with back in the day, and now they're doing like ran into Cody Harrison. And everybody's just doing. I was taken back. Like everybody's legitimately doing well.
That's cool.
And they're just, and then that's a good thing. I know we all have life happening and this, that, and the other. So it's always good to see like smiles, and you kind of feel like a high school reunion. I never had a high school. Like, I never went to any of my high school reunions. So this is my high school.
But you would
reunion.
imagine that's what it would have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. I think that's that group of people back then. I guess you could call it 2000s like group of NEA people.
Sure. Yeah.
I think it's just the type of people that when you get back together, you just pick up where you left off. You know,
exactly right.
It's just so easy to reconnect like that. I totally agree. And, there's been a lot of life that's happened since then. All of us,
Oh, yeah.
But it's easy to just kind of go back to that place and reflect and enjoy the times that we had back then and talk about those times. And, and I love hearing things that either don't remember or two that I just didn't even know. I love hearing about things like that. I think it's so cool.
Me too. I'm always kind of finding, and hopefully, I don't know, however long we do the podcast, maybe like we'll have more of a, maybe all the more, like the story will be more full, I feel like it's
more complete.
More complete. Like we're kind of like writing this book or whatever, and we'll be able to fill in the blanks and like, oh, okay. So
that's the coolest thing about the podcast. I'm super glad you're doing it.
Yeah, that's so I'm like, I'm kind of stoked. I go, I didn't know it was that guy or that person, and sometimes I like kind of getting the origin story. You're not really so much concerned with that at the time.
Yeah.
But,
Because you're kind of living in the moment.
You're kind of living in the moment, which I'm glad we were.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the most important part. Because think about it. I was an older guy then. I still have years on everybody, but like,
sure.
During that time in people's lives, like that's probably the most impactful.
Yeah.
I guess I think like developmentally, as far as like as human beings, I think that time period means the most, or has the most impression on us at any time. Because like you're like, so you're, because like, are you like, do you got youth pastoral stuff here?
I was a youth pastor for about 8 years, but now, so I've been doing worship lead. So I lead our worship music at our church.
Okay.
I've done that for probably 11 years. And
Beautiful.
But now I'm more of like an associate type role where I pastor the small groups of our church.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but also still worship lead. So,
but you kind of dealt with like the young people, like,
yeah.
So kind of like that whole,
it's different now.
It's different now.
Yeah. Well, kids, man, everything is just progressing so fast now that it's just so hard to keep up. I mean, I definitely see it with my own kids, but my oldest is just turned 13, so he's kind of starting to get in the teenage years. But as a youth pastor for a long time, the stuff that kids are getting into, like, it's just wild. I mean, the opportunities that they have to really get into some trouble are far more vast than what I had when I was a kid.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I tell people all the time, like, I'm glad I'm not living now and these days, because I would have made some probably pretty big mistakes.
Sure. Yeah.
And so it's just everything's progressing so fast now, technology, and it's changing. It's big time. I'm not this big like conspiracy kind of guy. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, you can look back in the last 20 years and then look at the 20 years before then and see the progression, like the speed of progression and how faster it's going.
It's wild.
It is.
It's like this boulder like rolling downhill.
It really is. Yeah, it's getting faster and faster and faster. Yeah.
It's wild, and I guess definitely gotta be different. Like when I was doing the whole youth pastor thing, like it was like. It's definitely, like just you still like deal with like broken hearts, and you still deal with like broken homes, and like
100%.
And people just having a hard time trying to find themselves and find like where they kind of belong and all that stuff. And so it's like, I know those things haven't changed, and those are hard. Like I know, like my day job, I always tell people, I go, like, I like working with kids and I don't like working with kids because I don't like hearing the stories, because it's hard. I go, you shouldn't be going through so much so young.
Absolutely.
But then I'm like, I'm super there for you to hear. You know what I'm saying? So it's rough to hear, but while I'm here, let's get to it. Yeah.
Well, and I know that everybody that listens doesn't really share the same ideas or faith that maybe we share,
Sure.
but it's a broken world that we live in, based on what we know from what the Bible talks about, like with creation and stuff and where we are now. And it's going to be broken until Jesus comes back and fixes it all, And again, I'm not trying to press any type of beliefs on anybody, but it's just I'm not giving excuses also because crappy things shouldn't happen, but it's kind of the space that we're in right now.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I agree. I think that there's this like, the light, I always tell my kids, I go, Jesus is that light, he's always been, in the beginning there was chaos.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, I go, I think the most beautiful part of the whole, the Bible is the very beginning, because it talks about the beginning being so chaotic and dark and void.
Yeah.
And the next thing he says, let there be light. And I always tell my kids, what I don't know what everybody else believes, but I believe that light, that's JC right there, So I'm like, Jesus is always nestled next to chaos, which is a beautiful message to give to people in any time, any day, for hundreds or thousands of years. That will always be the case.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's good news.
Yep, absolutely. I totally agree. Well, the Bible says that the light shines best in the darkness.
Absolutely.
And so if there was no, darkness, there may no need for light, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I always loved going to, I always like back in the day when bands would play, especially like some bands I was really into, like maybe like some Christian bands, like, Living Sacrifice or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I heard people say, well, they should play, and they did play like churches and things like that. But I go, but the best place for them to play
is the bars. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it's like that's why are we doing that for?
Yeah,
man,
I had a guy. So Amy and I, when we lived in Blytheville, kind of in the early band days and stuff, we played at the First Baptist Church in Blytheville. And it was for the youth program. We were kind of up, separated from the main part of the church and stuff. But the pastor had come up, and he was talking to me. And he's kind of an old Southern Baptist preacher. And at the time, I didn't have as many tattoos, but I did have one tattoo on my arm, and it was the word faith in Hebrew. Mm-hmm. And so he came up and asked me what that was. And so I told him, and he looked at me, and he said something that I will never forget as long as I live. He said, you're going to be able to reach people that I could never dream of reaching. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm getting chills talking about it, because I'm like, man, just to get affirmed in that, because I really believe that. I really believe that, like, I am the way that I am. I'm interested in the way that the things that I'm interested in, because that's the sphere of influence that I'll be able to have. You get a Southern Baptist preacher that's in his 60s coming to a show at the complex in Memphis. Yeah. He's not going to have much influence,
No.
And he recognized that. And I was totally changed at that moment, because I was really affirmed with the way that I believed, and that it was cool to see somebody outside of that like really recognize that that's really the case. We've all got our own methods and our own sphere of influence.
Oh yeah,
on people, and it's different, and it's supposed to be that way. It's like when you talk about the body of Christ, every body part is supposed to work in a different way, and it all works together to make up the whole body.
Oh, absolutely, I agree 100% with that. I think. And that's why, it's super encouraging to people. I mean, again, going back to my kids, it's like, you are who you are for a reason, and that's like, and it's a very powerful thing of like the individual, and just truly being yourself is the most powerful thing that you can be. And everything else, so I was like, I remember, there was a great worship leader, pastor that I always look up to for wisdom. Danny Chambers, I think he's passed away.
Okay.
And he always said, something he said always stuck with me. He goes, he said, you make a great you and a lousy somebody else. And I go,
yeah, it's true.
And I go, that always stuck with me as well, because to be being cool with who you are, with all your imperfections and hang-ups, and that's a beautiful thing, because perfection is pretty boring.
Yeah.
But this, that,
also impossible.
Also impossible. Absolutely. 100%. That's
right. Except for Stephanie, she's pretty cool.
That perfectionism is just a delusion and everything and stuff. But just being able to embrace those things and accept those things. But I think that's what I've loved since the very beginning, with like, even like just with, the hardcore scene, whether it was in New York or whether it was here or whatever, it was just like a bunch of people who weren't perfect and who came together as community and from different backgrounds and different beliefs. And everything else just coming together and just having that. There's something strong with that, and that they can't put it into words. It's super intangible, but it meant the world to everybody there because they had a place to go to.
Yep.
They knew that's the one place I can go to know, especially in the Bible Belt. It can be kind of,
judgy and
everything else. So it's
100%.
like, this is the one place I can go and know it's like, I'm going to feel I belong here.
Yeah.
That type of thing. And and like I look and I'm just as weird as the dude or the gal next to me or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and that was what was so cool, I think, about like people in Northeast Arkansas that ran venues. I mean, you had Commonwealth for a while, you had Ghost Town, the Bordens, Carla and Joe, incredible people. They had Powerhouse for a long time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A couple different locations. Matt Cody ran sound and booked talent and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude.
Super good dude. I mean, there was just a lot of really cool people, and really, and not to say you're like old by any means, but like older people that were kind of outside the generation of the kids that were doing the music.
Sure, yeah.
That were supporting those kids doing that, and not only supporting but encouraging it too. So to have that type of love and support in an area, I mean, it was just I thought it was amazing.
Of all places.
Yeah, of all places. Yeah, Jonesboro, Arkansas. I mean, Paragould, that whole area up that way. There was a couple churches in Blytheville. There's Lighthouse Church that was kind of like
I went there that one
you
time.
Remember Lighthouse? Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, we actually used that as a practice spot for quite a while. Yeah. Yep.
Who's the guy who did shows up there?
Leroy
did shows up there.
Yep. Yeah. Leroy, I think he lives, I may be wrong about this, but I think he lives up in the St. Louis area.
Wow.
And he's married and got a bunch of kids and stuff too.
No way.
Yeah.
I saw the Catholic in the beard there.
Did you?
I think it was
Corey and Benny.
It was you guys, yeah. Steph, the Catholic in the beard. It was
so
like
funny.
Benny and Corey.
Yeah.
Best thing ever, dude. That's so great,
Yeah.
man.
Batone. Yeah, Buttone, I believe.
Bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe there's no E. I can't remember, but it's pronounced Batone. It was
love
actually
it.
my brother's best friend growing up in school because Leroy went to Gosnell. Yeah.
That's such a hard last name.
I know. Batone.
Are you doing anything? Are you doing anything now, like musically, like?
No, I mean, I lead worship at the church, so that's where most of my music stuff is at this point. I've had a YouTube channel for about 2 years, and I've kind of been on a little bit of a hiatus for the last couple months. But I do like reviews of like old school, like 80s, 90s TV shows and talk about video games. And
what shows?
So, I mean, I've done a ton. I mean, I've done like Batman the Animated Series, Transformers, Kids Incorporated.
Really?
I mean, just really deep cuts, a lot of stuff. Yeah. Reboot, Bump in the Night, like a lot of really cool stuff.
You say, so you got to do an episode 1?
Yeah, so the idea that I did behind the series is that me and a couple of buddies, we kind of sit down and we watch the first episode of the series.
Okay.
And then at the very end of the episode, we kind of talk about, well, based on the first episode, would we continue to watch the series?
Okay.
So it's kind of like a review of the whole series based on the first episode. Like,
so
is this a crappy episode? What will we even give it a second chance? And sometimes the answer is no, we will not. But I do that, and then I do a lot of like shorts of like my video game hunting and stuff like that. Facebook Marketplace buys. I try to keep it active.
So where are you on YouTube?
So I go by Adventurecoats. So it's kind of play on my last name, Jeffcoats.
I like it.
And so I went with Adventurecoats. Yeah, on
That's
YouTube.
perfect.
And social media, Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna start following that because I especially with the episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm all about that.
We'll show a lot of clips from the show and our responses live and stuff. So you kind of watch the show along with us, and then at the end we kind of do a recap and talk about the episode. But it's fun. Check it out. Yeah,
this is the best thing ever, man.
See.
Yeah.
This
you
is
come
the
to Heber
best thing
Springs, you get it all, man.
Wow. I was like, that kind of reminds me, it's different, but like Jamie Josta on his podcast, they'll have like him and Howard Jones from Kill Switch. They'll like, they'll watch, they'll have watched like, what was the thing? It was like Total Recall. I think they watched
the original. Yeah.
Yeah. And they will like, what was the other one? Not Total Recall. They have one. No, Commando.
Oh yeah, with Schwarzenegger.
With Schwarzenegger, and them laughing. Howard Jones is like has one of those most infectious laughs I ever heard in my entire life. Because Jamie Jost is a freak. It's the best ever.
Well,
dude.
all those like 80s like one man action flicks are the absolute best. You know, you got
They
Van
are.
Damme and Stallone and Schwarzenegger and all those. It's just the best. Oh, what a great time in history. One man hero. You know?
I think Predator has like the Arnold Schwarzenegger, like,
Yeah.
Predator, that has some amazing lines in it, like an amazing scenes.
cheesy wise, yeah.
Like this one guy who I forget the character's name, like when he's like nervous, like he's like dry shaving his face.
Yeah.
One time it's so hard that he breaks his razor on his face and he starts to bleed. And I was like, that is so intense. I was like,
That's when you know you're real scared.
I was
so.
like, those are like the hardest dudes on the planet, like Jesse Ventura and like
yeah, I forgot he was in there.
and
yeah.
Carl Weathers, rest
Carl
in
Weathers,
peace. You
yeah,
know,
rest in peace.
Yo,
Yep, Chubbs
Chubbs.
or Apollo Creed, whatever you're. Yeah, I don't know. I go for Chubbs though. So.
You're about 1 hour in.
Huh?
I mean, you guys are great. This is
Stephanie's trying to kill us over here. She's like, "You're going so long."
I could definitely I can definitely rabbit trail into some of these.
Yeah. Well, how about this? Tell me about what it was like to go and kick On the Catalyst back up.
Oh,
Like, what was
man.
that like for you?
I don't know. It's one of those things that we were totally like wanting to do for the longest time, because it's like one of those things like it's like distance was kind of like keeping us.
Yeah. See, that's the thing with ATA too.
That was kinda
Distance
tough,
is really, really rough for us right now.
Everybody had family. Corey had so I mean, it's like Corey had a family in North Little Rock, and me and Jordan, we were kind of like, we were always kind of into, whenever we can get it going, whenever when the stars would align, like, let's definitely do it. And we definitely have tried, me, Corey, and Jordan, over time.
Yeah.
But this last time it kind of stuck.
cool.
We're kind of like, 'cause I think Corey met a guy. He had met Jacob down in North Little Rock, and they were kind of working on like some like doom type stuff.
Oh, okay.
Some, like stoner metal type stuff.
Love
And
So
he
good.
was really into that. So he goes, well, it was like it was last June, maybe. He goes, well, I got this guy. He plays and he could play bass. He could play bass for us, and me and Jordan on guitars, and it's like, let's do a practice.
That's cool.
And then we kind of practiced without a vocalist. And I think one time I saw Lonnie on Facebook, and I think he made some comment or something on Facebook, and I was like,
Wish I could be in a band again.
yeah, so I was like, hey man, it's like, you want to do vocals? And I thought Lonnie would be like, Lonnie would be perfect. He had plenty of
Yeah.
experience doing vocals. I go, this kind of is a shot in the dark. I go, hey, would you want to practice with this? And he said, yeah. So I think at that time he was looking for something to do. I think he was going to try to just do something himself, because he was hard. Whoa! I dropped the mic. I'm sorry.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. But he was wanting to do something, whether it was like just himself recording everything, but and it kind of just worked out. We just kind of traveled down to Sherwood, and now we're traveling up. Now they're traveling up to Paragould. So it's
that's
been
cool.
great. It's been wonderful. We're
Yeah.
writing new stuff, and everybody's kind of waxing nostalgic, and it's good to see everybody liking it.
Yeah. When you finish a show, are you like, oh, my body? Or like what? Like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
hurting. I'm dying.
I don't yeah. I go home and I soak in a hot bath.
A little Epsom salt.
Yeah. I go, Gary, you got, do you have a good 25 minutes?
Think about people like Keith Richards.
Let's
and
just
stuff,
go.
who are
I
like
know.
running around an entire like mega stage at
I
like
know.
88 years old.
I know. Ain't that nuts? I was telling Steph, I go, he's like 200 years old now.
Exactly. He's a relic.
And I told him, like, their drummer just recently passed away. Like,
Oh, did he really? I didn't see
within
that.
the last year and a half or so, I thought.
Man.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't see how they do it, man.
That's crazy. Well, with ATA, like everybody is spread out big time now. So Benny's in Cali, and he's doing music production. He just started a podcast. I don't know if you saw that or not.
No, I didn't.
But he's got a podcast, and I haven't listened to an episode yet, but he's had a couple of clips that he's posted on social media that I've watched. And then Blake is a doctor, And
Dang.
it's kind of a weird situation. I mean, it works for he and his wife. So he lives in Vegas. He and his wife live in Vegas. His wife is a trained operatic singer. And so she
What?
does like shows in Vegas. He actually is a doctor in Springfield, Missouri. So he flies once a month to Springfield, Missouri, and it works at a family practice there. I guess they make a lot of money up there. I don't know the situation by any means. But anyways, he flies to Springfield, Missouri once a month for a couple of days and then flies back to Vegas. And then Brian is a nurse anesthetist, and he's kind of more contract labor as far as I know. I think he may work for like St. Vincent or somebody. I don't know. I probably said that wrong. Sorry, Brian. But anyways, he kind of bounces around and does puts people to sleep, I guess. So
That's awesome.
and then,
dude.
of course, I'm here in Heber Springs. So me and Brian are still somewhat local. Brian's in Benton area is where he lives. And but yeah, Blake and Benny are gone.
It's so wild, man.
Yeah.
It's, just
Where
to
life
think
takes you and
this is where
stuff.
life kind of takes you and everything.
Yeah.
That's nuts, dude.
So it'd be fun to get together, but quite impossible these days.
Yeah.
So, not to mention, I'm gonna be honest with you, everybody listening right now. Okay, I would have to sit down for quite a long time with my guitar and ATA tracks to remember how to play them, because I really have not picked up and played them in years. I mean, that may seem weird to people, but like for real, I've just forgotten, and I guarantee you my speed is not where it needs to be, but I don't remember how to play our songs.
I get it. I get it, because there was talk about us like trying to rehash like one of the songs from the demo, and I still to this day can't remember exactly how it goes.
Yeah, we could probably get close, but yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I can get close.
Yep, it's crazy.
I don't know.
Man.
We want to do chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
Okay. All right. Okay, this is top 5 on the fly. This is part of the show.
Top 5 on the fly.
Yeah, we really need a jingle.
Top 5 on the fly.
There it is. Done. On the fly is done. This is the part where we get to kind of like share like what we've been listening to lately.
Yeah.
Our songs that top 5 songs that are important to us. The rules are ours. We can make them whatever.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess I can start.
Go for it.
My number 5.
I feel like you're going to pick out a bunch of obscure bands that I don't know.
I'm not. I promise. No, I don't think it will. I don't think it will be.
You're good. I'm just playing, Gary. I love you.
Yeah, because that would be no fun.
Right.
That'd be no fun. It's like, this is a band that's called Jibberjaw.
You've probably never heard of them, but
they're like, they got 3 Spotify.
Exactly.
But they're going to be big. They're
Only a select few know, so sorry.
I don't know. I'm gonna put. There's no particular order with these. I'm listening to a lot of. I've been listening to a lot of like. I've been trying to find a perfect old country bluegrassy record. Like my influence, I think the backdrop is the film. Oh brother, brother, where art thou? Deliverance. Please God, no. It is not Deliverance.
No, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably like Mumford and Sons. I mean, I know that's kind of a popular type option. But Mumford's got kind of a really cool feel like that.
They do.
Older Mumford. I think the newer stuff had a little bit more electric to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of looking for.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that. So I do remember I was like kind of going through some stuff. I've been listening to a lot of Buck Owens lately and everything.
Yeah.
And I remember watching a video with there's a YouTube. I think it's a YouTube show called What's in Your Bag. And what they'll do, they'll kind of follow some like underground artists or whatever, and kind of like they'll kind of watch them go like kind of march the aisles of the of the record store. And they did one with from Brian Garris from Knocked Loose, and I was kind of like, when I was listening to Buck Owens, I go, something came to mind. I go, he mentioned Tyler Childers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I go, because I always get him and Sturgill Simpson mixed up. I don't know why, but anyway, he mentioned an album called Violent History, and which is all basically just a bunch. It's just an instrumental like bluegrassy Grassy.
Bluegrassy.
Good Lord,
Wee,
man.
wee.
What the heck is bluegrassy? Bluegrassy, like country, like old, like old front porch type country
Yeah.
stuff. You know, like you hear like the mouth harp and everything else in the background.
Dang,
Yeah,
that's cool.
so
Wow, 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 wow,
yeah,
wow,
exactly. It's like, I don't know why I dig that so much, but anyway, like it's all it is. Always, I think the last song, like he does, like it's like I think it's the first time like you hear vocals. So, but anyway, I'm just gonna go with that one. Like,
That's cool,
Yeah,
man.
Tyler Childers. Yeah, Violent History. That's a
love
good one.
that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, dude.
Well, I'm going to kick off what we were kind of talking about earlier. So he's legend.
Yeah.
There's a song on their latest album. It came out, I think, in 22. It's the album is called Endless Hallway, and the song is called The Prowler. And it's kind of like the title track that, you know, they kind of released first. And it's just bad to the freaking bone, man. It's
Right.
like it starts out hard and heavy, and then it even like slows down and gets more intense. The choruses, the way that they kind of change time signatures, maybe not time signatures, but time in general, like BPM, at certain sections in their songs is just so cool. But again, Skylar's voice is just phenomenal. It's so good. And the song just freaking jams from start to beginning. The entire album is incredible, but this song, I think in particular, just really hits.
Have you ever played that in guitar?
The song?
Yeah.
No, I probably should, though.
Yo,
I need to sit down. Gary, you're inspiring me.
that's awesome. I'm not good at playing covers, but I always thought like, but it's kind of growing on me though.
Yeah, we actually covered He Is Legend way back in the day, and played The Seduction is what
Nice.
we played by them off the I'm Hollywood record. So
Nice.
did y'all ever do any
No.
covers in Ivy
No,
Catalyst?
I'm trying to get the guys to do A Modern Life is War cover
Yeah.
called Sounds Like I think it's called Sounds Like End Times or something like that. Anyway, yeah, I love that song.
That's cool.
It's so good. It's super catchy too. I don't think it'd be that bad. Anyway,
That's cool.
everybody can kind of like push my other band members to do that.
There you go.
That'd be
Covers are
great.
fun, man. I mean, we did a few. We didn't really do a ton. We did like we did Memphis Shall Be Laid to Waste a couple of times,
yeah.
and Danny Campbell hopped in on the Aaron part at the end of it. You know,
man.
so he did that with Reynolds Park one time.
Oh yeah, dude.
years and years ago.
That is awesome.
And then we did. Face
great.
Face by Norma Jean one time. We did Haste the
Dude.
Day. We did a Haste the Day song. I don't remember which one it was. But my favorite, we actually did Tears for Fears. Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
No way.
And I wish we had a recording of that.
Wow.
I don't think that one exists, but it was pretty awesome.
I'll go
We
me some
had a
Tears
good
for
time.
Fears, man.
Yeah, we freaking like went at it too. It
Dude.
was awesome.
That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. If anybody remembers that, please tell me that you remember it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Please tell me you have a video.
That's awesome because I'm always like key to like that. You know, like the Riders Block record Evergreen Terrace did.
Yeah.
That's top notch, man. They do covers well.
Yeah, I mean that entire album. There's a lot of great covers on
A lot
there.
of great
Yeah,
covers.
yeah.
That's
Also,
inspiring.
Tears for Fears. They did.
They did Mad World. On
Mad
that.
World. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Crazy,
So
dude.
good.
So good.
Number two.
Nothing. The band. Nothing is the band. The album is Tired of Tomorrow, and the song is Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. That's like this is like my first introduction to like Nothing. I think it came out like 2016, and they were a band at that time, probably 20. People can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know, maybe 2012, maybe earlier.
Okay.
But like they just have like this shoegazy, just big, especially that record. There's like these really definitely a lot of effects on the guitar, like reverb and delay, and the guy kind of sings. The vocals are kind of just underneath, kind of like the guitar, so it kind of has like that ghostly feel.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of like existential type lyrics and everything, make you really sad, but it's really good. but they've done really well for themselves. But that record in particular, probably my favorite. But I listened to that this week. I actually listened to that record when we lost our dog for 20 something hours.
I saw that. Yeah, I'm glad you got it back.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Yeah.
So I was feeling kind of like super sad.
Like
So-
losing a child, huh?
it is. So
Gosh.
it's terrible, bro.
That's crazy.
Never again.
Yep.
Anyway, that's a story for another podcast.
That dog will never leave. He's leashed 24/7.
Put some GPS on that fool.
Yeah, for real.
Okay.
Should be easy to pull off these days. Golly.
Are we not doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
Oh, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Yeah,
1.
yeah, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so that was my because that was my 4. That was my 4. So
Didn't explain the rules.
yeah, so this I'm sorry. Yeah, we're
I'm
going
good.
Yeah, we're going 5 all the way up to 1. So this will be your 4.
4.
Okay.
But it's not
bad.
best to worst, right? Or worst to
No,
best.
no.
Yeah.
No.
We're just having fun.
Yeah,
we're
just having
talking about
fun.
songs.
Yeah, talking about songs. I can never rate music.
This
ever.
section is called Talking About Songs.
This song.
Yeah. All right. Well, number 4 is a song called I'm the Moon. And I Am the Moon. Yeah. It's by the Tedeschi Trucks Band. And so this is Bluesville. Okay. So years and years ago at the Beale Street Music Festival, I was introduced to Susan Tedeschi.
Okay.
And she is a phenomenal blues guitar player, vocalist. I mean, she's got like this super sweet, raspy like voice.
Okay.
It's killer.
Okay.
Well, I don't know when it was, but a little bit later on down the road, so there's a guy named Derek Trucks that had the Derek Trucks Band.
Okay.
Incredible slide guitar player. I mean, just like bad to the freaking bone.
Cool.
And there's a lot of cool videos out there of like John Mayer and B.B. King and stuff playing with him and just being blown away by this dude.
Whoa.
So Susan Tedeschi, Derek Trucks got married. And now they're the Tedeschi Trucks Band.
Yo.
And so Amy and I got a chance to go see them at the Verizon Arena, Simmons Bank Arena, whatever it's called in Little Rock now. Maybe about a year and a half ago. And it was the first time that I had seen them together, and it was just phenomenal. And so the record is called I'm the Moon. The song is called I'm the Moon. And it's just really good. I mean, they've got a cool, like, chill vibe at times. They got a like, energy at times. It's just really good. And of course that dude playing that slide guitar, just yep.
That's definitely up Stephanie's alley right here.
Booyah.
There you go. And that sounds super interesting. I love that. I've never heard of that.
I'll shoot it to you.
That's beautiful, man. Okay.
What's going on our Spotify playlist?
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. We'll definitely. Yeah, we put all the music on the playlist.
Yeah, cool. Go for it.
Next, oldie but a goodie. Fugazi. The song is Blueprint.
Yeah.
Album's Repeater. That's just. Early '90s, late '80s, early '90s. Fugazi is just perfect. I can't find a bad song.
It's been a long time since I've listened to them. I've got like a first gen iPod still, and I haven't plugged it in forever, but I've got some Fugazi on there. I just haven't listened to it in forever, man.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like 13 songs to Repeater to Steady Diet of Nothing. Those are my 3.
Their stuff was short too, right? Aren't their songs pretty short? Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, some are. Yeah, pretty.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they're like easy listens.
Yeah.
Man, and Ian Mackay playing that bass, bro.
Ooh-wee.
Mercy. Okay.
Mercy. All right, my number 3, I'm kicking it back to some late 70s, early 80s with some Talking Heads because I cannot freaking get enough of the Talking Heads.
Are you for real?
Yeah, David Byrne is the mastermind behind the Talking Heads. He's the vocalist, and it's just incredible. So the song is called Once in a Lifetime.
Oh, the song is so good.
It shows up in movies a lot and stuff. He's got like a talking vocal pattern that he does quite a bit through the song.
Yep.
The chorus is kind of a singing section and stuff. He's a very unique person to begin with, and that shows through their music big time. A lot of their records are so good. He actually did like a Broadway musical recently.
Oh, wow.
Where he created this whole show where people are playing instruments. So it's really just him. It's not the Talking Heads,
Yeah.
but they're playing songs that he's written, and he kind of, I think it's called American Wasteland. I may be confusing that with Green Day, but it's something American Utopia, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, and so like there's a keyboard player, but it's like on a strap, and this person is playing. There's a couple of different percussionists that make up the drum beats, and it's a really cool thing. But yeah, going back to the song, it's Once in a Lifetime by Talking Heads.
So like, do you listen like to all their discography?
I've listened to a lot. Maybe not all of it, but I've listened to a lot. There's David Byrne has done a duet album with St. Vincent. Have you listened to St. Vincent before? She
Yeah.
is a guitar player, really
Yeah.
unique. Their
yeah.
their vibes are really similar, so they did a really cool dual album together.
Yeah, that's St.
Yep.
Vincent. Yeah,
Yep.
that is cool, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I got new music to listen to now.
Do
That's
it.
great.
Do it.
All right, going back to the 2000s. The beloved Failure On record. Defect from Decay. I can't pick a song.
The
So
entire album's so good.
the entire album's so good.
Yep.
Yes.
And seeing them at Furnace Fest,
Bro.
so good. Oh my gosh.
Should talk about chills.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, talking about chills. I mean,
Yeah.
holy cow, it does not mercy.
Yeah. I've always wanted to get a tattoo that's like, I don't know, a cannon or some kind of something, and that has the words "Born for Battle" underneath it.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be so sick.
That's huge.
Yeah.
To hear 2,000 people say that.
Big time. And just freaking piling on like crazy. Oh, man. So good.
Chills. I got chills already.
Yep.
All right, that's me.
All right, cool. Number 2 for me.
Yo.
I'm going Poison the Well
Whoa,
because
look at
it's
you.
probably my favorite band. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. And I know everybody's super into Opposite of December.
True.
I totally get that, and that's the one that everybody talks about. But I think they only got better as they went on with their albums. They were much more like hardcore feel back in the old days. They went more melodic and heavy, and I really like the feel of it. I use the term Deftones lightly,
Sure.
because it's really not like Deftones, but it's got more of that drivey, heavy, melodic guitar going on and stuff.
Yeah.
So the song is Purple Sabbath.
Okay.
And this is actually kind of a song. It was an unreleased track for a while. It was in between the Versions and the Tropic Rot album.
Okay.
They had written it, and it was going to be on the Tropic Rot album, and then they ended up nixing it. You know how sometimes you go through production, and some songs just don't make the record. But in the extended version of Tropic Rot, they've got the song on there, so it's called Purple Sabbath, and it's heavy, and it's so good.
Well, you're not alone with the whole with the Deftones reference, because Daryl will talk about the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right.
There being some type of Deftones influence for sure.
Yep. Fun fact about Daryl. So I went to school with his nephew. In fact, the first person that I lived with when I moved back to Blytheville, on my own, was his nephew.
No way.
And Daryl took us to Warped Tour in 2003.
What?
It was the only time the first time I'd met Daryl, really, and he really introduced me to Poison the Well.
Oh,
So
look at that.
at Poison the Well played, Glassjaw played. We were going to see the Used, but there was a big storm that came up. The show got canceled.
Okay.
But that's where my love for Poison the Well started, was freaking Daryl Sykes.
Yeah, awesome, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, he was all about that Poison the Well,
Yeah.
man, too. And I think that he's a big fan. There was this progression though with Poison the Well.
Yep.
I think that was they weren't really kind of like this. They were all all about the evolution, I guess. This kind of because bands grow, man. They play different stuff.
Things change
Let's
a
just see
little
where
bit.
it takes us.
Yep.
I like that. All right. Okay. I like this song. I'm not really sure about the whole record. I have listened to the whole record, but have you listened to Dax Riggs?
No.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. You look so disappointed, Gary. He's like, wow.
No, this one my daughter introduced me to, Dax Riggs. But the song is called Didn't Know Yet What I Know When I Was Bleeding. Man.
Sounds too complicated.
Why won't they just keep it short?
Bleeding.
Anyway, Didn't Know Yet What I Know When I Was Bleeding. Man, that sounds like a first grader reading.
Stephanie said it's not even the right. That's not even the right.
Is that
word.
not what it says?
Maybe I typed it wrong.
Bleeded?
Bleeded?
Bleed in.
I said, yeah, it is
Bleed in.
bleeding, yeah.
No.
No G. Bleeding.
Bleeding. Oh, bleeding?
Yeah, you're in Arkansas, bro. I ain't know what I was bleeding.
Listen to Dax Riggs.
I don't know if I should now.
He was in another band. He was in a band. I want to say, I don't care if I'm incorrect. I'll change it. I'll make a comment. I think the band was called Acid Bath? I don't know. I'm looking at Steph
Okay.
Steph's yes, it was. But anyway, like so Dax Riggs, he's kind of a unique individual.
Okay. What type of music? It sounds like country. Is what
It's ish. No, it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of gritty,
Soft rock, grungy.
kind of
all right.
bluesy.
That's a lot, guys.
Bluesy rock. Bluesy rock.
Again,
kinda
sounds
gritty.
real complicated.
Soft, rocky country.
He's interesting.
Sounds like
He
it.
has one of my favorite.
Genre.
We're just making up genres on the
This is
fly.
incredible.
It's Dax Riggs.
What a way to
rock.
end here, guys.
Go listen to it. I don't know. It has one of my favorite guitar riffs. In it,
Oh,
so,
yeah, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's nothing complex, but it makes you wish I'd thought of it.
Yeah, right. Wah, wah.
Yeah, I was like, oh boy. Okay. All right. That's my train wreck of a number one.
There you go.
Anyway,
Yeah, well, my number one, I went with something that's like close to me just because it really kind of hits me in the heart. It's a song called Faithful to the End, and it's by Bethel Music, and it's just really about how, like, you know, how God has really taken me through my life, and even through like the stuff that I've screwed up and made mistakes on, like he really brought me through those times and continues to be with me until the end. And so for me,
100%.
like I felt like I had to just kind of land on a place that really like truly meant something to me.
absolutely.
You know, and it's a great song. It's got a really cool feel to it and stuff, and really, really important song to me. Yep.
There are those songs.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. They kind of the anthem.
Yeah,
Anthem for your life and
Absolutely.
everything else, you know, and
Gary has an anthem.
Oh,
I have an anthem.
a country boy will survive.
Is that me? What's that?
What is that one?
I do have an anthem. Like, yeah, because like I would like, what's it's it was by Hillsong. It's by Hillsong United. What was that song? Is it Peace Be Still?
I feel like I want to say that, but I don't.
Yeah, I think it's Peace
I
Be
recognize that. Yeah.
Be still. Yep, that's what it is.
Still. Yeah, like yeah, dude, it was really, yeah, that was at a really kind of crucial time of my life. Yeah, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I never had like, you know, like some like wild. I've had some wild moments in my life, but like I think that was probably the most chaotic, out of nowhere. Like, you know, because we live in the South, and these storms. You ever had these? It's like there's storms. Like, you know, the weatherman can kind of like make these predictions, like, hey, you know, look out for these storms on Friday. But like this is kind of like, you know, in the South, like these storms can kind of just pop up.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like clearly out of nowhere.
Yep.
You know, it's like it's kind of also was kind of reminiscent of the whole like, you know, like this, like, you know, the whole, you know, like the whole story when like the story, I like when the storm popped up on the Sea of Galilee.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
kind of talks about just kind of just popping up.
It gets chaotic real fast.
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of symbolic of life. And it's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. I had no answer for anything. Like what I felt like I was losing my mind.
Yeah.
So, but that song kind of got me through
Man.
the other side, and a lot of other things too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, yeah. So you got to have those songs you cling to, man.
Yep, I love that.
Not milestones or whatever. Not milestones. What do you call them? Like memorials.
Yeah, memorial. Yeah, exactly.
100%, 100%, yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, dude. Well, this is incredible.
Such a good time.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
It's like I got to pinch myself. Like I'm here. This is great.
Here we are. Yeah, that's right. Gary lives in my basement now.
Yeah.
In the
so, yeah.
bunker.
It's like, the slide Cheetos and Yoo-hoos underneath the door.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be in here with the games. I love it, man.
It's awesome.
But listen, Chuck, I love you.
Love you too, man.
I appreciate you, and I can't say enough good about you. It take a very long time to put that on paper, but I do. You're an important guy to me. I mean, as a person, as a musician. I know you mean a lot of people. I know you mean a lot to a lot of people who are listening and everything. So thank you so much for doing this. But I can't sit here in your wonderful basement surrounded by games
Forever.
talking to you all day. So I got a thing I got to do. I'll catch you later.
Holla, man.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
knelt a puppet on the string, along the vortex weeping. Lord, have you heard the roaring dragon eat the virgin? I didn't know yet what I'd know when I was bleeding. I didn't know yet what I'd know when I was bleeding. I seem to forget what I learned when I was falling. I didn't know yet what I'd know when I was bleeding. Hey! Neon ghost in mask and cold, my heart is set loud removed. When my chemicals go wrong, I'd have the devil take a song for my own whistle. I didn't know yet what I'd know when I was bleeding.
Hurt your feelings, you don't want to work with me anymore. Okay.